Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Shan Ferdinand here, Black Lion After Hours with Miss Tina Vick, Councilwoman, candidate for mayor. Thank you for coming. We are here talking about her run for mayor. We're talking about real estate. We're talking about the city of Newport News. So stay tuned.
Yeah, of course, Black Line Realty is the best. Hampton Road's finest. What else did you think I was going to say?
Listen, we're just here to dominate. No more, no less.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, when it comes to this real estate, anybody can win. You got to know when to take your chance.
Absolutely.
It's Black Line After Hours. Let's go.
Welcome back. Welcome, Tina.
Thank you, Shan. I'm so glad to be here this morning.
We are happy to have you here. We appreciate your time because I know that, in the life of politics, your time is valuable. So thank you for taking the time out to come talk with us.
Well, talking is my favorite thing to do. So when you text me about the podcast, I looked at it. Oh, she wants me to talk. Hey, count me in. So here I am.
All right. Thank you so much. For most of us know about you. We know where you come from. We know we know about the Vick name. So for the very small group of people who don't know about Tina, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a Newport News native, born and raised here, downtown Newport News. I am a Ferguson High School graduate, which is now the Ferguson Center.
I didn't know that.
My old high school is now the Ferguson Center. And so I ventured off in 1980 to attend Virginia Commonwealth University. I wanted to be a news reporter then, so I got my bachelor's degree in mass communications. I came back home because, during that time I was really missing my family because we grew up as a very close family. And so wanted to continue here, but I even during college, I've always worked with community food pantries, homeless shelters, so my heart has always been for people. And so I started working with pregnant teens in a program to help with the elimination of low birth weights in the state of Virginia. It was then under former Governor Chuck Robb, but his wife Linda Robb, that was her initiative.
Okay.
And so did that for a while. I really enjoyed that job. But afterwards, I became a counselor working with the Peninsula Marine Institute, a program that partnered the water with being able to work and control the unhealthy habits of, doing crime, young people doing crime, partnered it with the water. So because most of those children who do crimes, they've had a tradition of not listening to adults. But when you're out there on that water,
You got to listen.
and
Or you gonna drown.
unfamiliar territory, you gotta listen.
Absolutely.
And so that was it was great working there, and that job took me out to the city of New Orleans.
Hey.
New Orleans. New Orleans.
New Orleans. What did they say? They say les bon temps roulés. So I enjoyed the job, but I enjoyed Mardi Gras even better. And my children enjoyed it. And so, but in New Orleans, I worked mainly with the families. But Shan, what I didn't realize when I accepted the job, I had to go into the people's homes to make sure, because our program was a day treatment program. In lieu of going to detention for the crime, they would come to our program and we would, continue their school education. Some people went on a job path, but I had to work with the families. What I didn't factor in when I took the job was I had never been to New Orleans. So I didn't, this was before GPS. So I didn't even know how to get to anybody's house because I wasn't from there.
So how did you find your way around?
The staff was very supportive, and so whatever address I had to go to that morning, the evening before, I would just ask the staff so they would give me directions to get there until I became familiar with
the area.
it, because I stayed out there for 10 years. So, but at the end, it was easy.
I can't even imagine life without GPS. Oh my goodness.
Right. Once I think, I rented a U-Haul the other day because I needed to go pick up my big signs. And that's what, I literally packed me and my children up and we went there for the job.
Oh my goodness.
And my mom kept saying, Tina, you so brave. You so brave to go out there to New Orleans like that. But I was so excited. I was in my 30s. it was so exciting for me to be able to say, first of all, I loved the job that I was going to do, but to just go to another city, it was so exciting. And so I did that for a while. Then my mom's health started failing, and so I came back home, and I got into real estate. So it was a second career for me. I didn't know anything about real estate.
So you just jumped into real estate?
Well, actually, at this point, because this was 2000 when I came back, so all the Michael Vick college stuff was going on, and so because Michael Vick is my nephew, my sister's son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I claim him and Marcus, both of them. And so it was an exciting time for the family because I was coming home, so he was getting, in 2001, he got drafted. But I think it was before that, he was getting his mom a house. So the real estate agent at that time, she said, Tina, I think you should get into real estate. So I had never even thought about it. And once she said that, that's when I looked into the class, and then I pursued it, and I took the class. It was kind of rough at first with all the legal
technical terms.
Yeah, oh my God. But the people part was good. But so I've been licensed, and I just really wanted to end up having my own company. Okay. And so
it's called Tina Vick Realty?
Tina Vick Realty.
You're the principal broker?
Did Tina Vick Realty and Development. I've just shortened it because I'm hoping as I'm out here in the business world, because our family grew up very poor in public, spent the majority of our time in public housing. So to have once you start learning about businesses, you see people like some of these companies that are around for 100 years.
Absolutely.
I just feel like, particularly as Black people, we have to start something and hope that our children will be able to carry it on.
Create a legacy.
Exactly. And so I'm hoping, that's why I did the development piece. Well, I really wanted to do more development, but what happened is, as soon as I became a broker, people started calling me, Tina, the seat is about to be open for the South District. Tina. They started calling me, so I'm like, it's a good time, because I really was just going to grow my business, because I had also worked as director for the Peninsula Community Development Corporation under the umbrella of a community action agency downtown.
So real quick, Tina, I do have a question. So when you say, because a lot of people don't understand the South District, can you give us a good breakdown of the South District and why it's so near and dear to your heart?
Oh, well, the South District because our city is run in districts, South, Central, and North. So our district runs from the end of Newport News, 6th and Jefferson, Ivy, down there by the water. And it comes all the way up to the tip of J. Clyde Morris Boulevard. Okay. So it's really bigger than the area I grew up in. So you're representing the whole South District.
So the tip of J. Clyde, is that like that intersection of J. Clyde and I think like Jefferson, that area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so that includes, I think the total is like 60,000 people.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. And unfortunately, I don't get to meet all of them, but it's still good to know. Some people know you, particularly if you're talking to the newspaper about something. People may not have met you, but they at least get to know and get to hear your thoughts or read your thoughts on different issues.
Absolutely. You mentioned family and legacy, but let's talk about your book, Growing Up Vick, the strength and resilience of the Vick family. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, I took that on because one day I was sitting at home watching the news, which I love watching the news in the morning. And I'm looking at Channel 3, and they have this guy on the TV, and he's written a book, The Lost Dogs, and the subtitle was The Rehabilitated Dogs of Michael Vick or something. And I'm thinking, here this man doesn't even know my nephew, but he's getting to use the subtitle of the Vick name. And I said, wait a minute, I'm going to write a book because we do have a story.
Absolutely.
And our life is not going to be just chalked up with dog fighting.
the negativity.
Right.
There's a lot of positivity.
It sure is. And so I started on my book. I finished it in 2013. But Shan, I got to tell you, it was a long process for me because I'm not a book. I didn't think I was a book writer, but really you can be because all you're doing is collecting your thoughts and experiences. But and plus I'm a talker, and it was you can't talk and write. Right. You got to pick one.
Either or.
So what I was doing, I put myself on a telephone rehabilitation plan because I'm just I just can't stop answering the phone. So what I would do is call people normally during the day, but I would go to sleep at 7, and then I would wake up at around 11, 12, and start working on the book because I knew I couldn't talk to anybody because everybody was asleep.
So it worked.
So that helped me get the book together. But I talk about several issues. The key is, we grew up, like I said, we grew up in poverty, but to let people know the message that poverty is not permanent. That you, with education and creating a hard work ethic for yourself, you can change the course of your life. That's what happened to us. That's what happened to me, my family, my sisters, my brothers. My brother Casey's got a painting power wash business. Look at the Michael Vick story. And people really think, I got to tell you, this is exclusive on y'all show.
Okay. Okay.
People are sending their children to these camps for football training because, Michael Vick had a mean left arm that throw. And so, but guess how it got like that?
How?
He didn't go to a camp. He used to pick up rocks off of the ground in Ridley Circle, the place that we're redoing downtown, and throw the rocks over the apartments. So
that's how he got that practice to get that strength in that left
and
arm.
there was this lady on one side, she drives cabs now, and every time she sees me, she'll remind me, I used to get so mad when Oogie, we call Michael Vick Oogie. When Oogie used to...
Oh, no, now Oogie. Shout out Oogie.
when Oogie used to throw those rocks in my yard because they would end up in her yard. So I talk about that in the book, and I talk about how the experience of us going through the dog fighting as a family. That was a rough time because people connected you to it. But what I stood on was this. If we could celebrate the good things about Michael Vick because it was so exciting. I talk about going to the draft because it was so unbelievable because he never was the type of person that I'm going to the pro. He just did the work.
Right.
He would tell you when he was at Virginia Tech while other people were eating lunch, he was studying plays. He would tell you when people were out partying, he was studying plays, doing the workouts, and he was soaking everything up like a sponge. So it was a surprise to us because he wasn't talking about it. He just put in the work.
And real big shout out to him because even afterwards, he persevered. After everything that the NFL, the people, he really persevered and came through a better person. I really look up to him as a person for all the things that he did afterwards because he did the work to clear his name and to do better. And there's just some people that's never going to let it go.
Yeah, and then the other thing, too, I talk about that in the book, the 24 months, 23 months. For even that happened, and he recognized the crime. But for somebody without a juvenile record, without an adult record, and a superstar, I just thought that was too much time. Anybody else would have probably got time suspended. And so I will never agree with that. And as his aunt, I think that was too much.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, because most people with first-time offenses, they don't do time. And so I talk about that in the book, and I also talk about my life in politics. Because to really, what shocked me, because I just love people, and I think everybody should have an opportunity to better themselves. Transformation is what life is all about, and empowerment. But to get in politics and in Newport News, and to see that as a woman, particularly for me as a black woman, some people welcomed me, but there were a lot of particularly men, businessmen, who did not welcome me to politics.
How did you deal with it?
Well, hold on real quick before we get too much deeper. It is time for a quick scheduled break. You know, Jordan always has something to say right about this time, so we're going to go ahead and let Jordan do his thing.
Despite the rumors you may hear, now is the perfect time to buy a home. Opportunities at Black Lion are endless. Jordan Edwards, 23 years old and capped. For all your real estate needs, my number is 804-505-4489. That's the final cut, right?
And as usual, thank you, Jordan, for your kind words. Now we're going to go ahead and get back to it with Miss Tina Vick and Shan, and we're going to continue this great conversation that we're having, and we're moving into politics right now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So you mentioned being a woman in politics and having to deal with men. How did you deal with the opposition that you faced from those people at that time?
Well, for me, what I felt like, the people had come out to elect me to this seat. And I know I'm a good decision maker. I know that I am a solutions-driven person. I know I love having ideas to make my community better and serve. So I wasn't going to let anything they said, some people, they were calling us, because by the time I got on council, there were already 2 women. 2 of us won, so it was 4. So we had the majority. And they were calling us the 4 witches and all of this businessmen now. Can you imagine this? Just so low life. And so I just stood my ground. For me, in times like this, Shan, I get my strength from, of course, my mom, a loving mother that loved her plump brown children. I talk about that in the book, too. But also, you got to think about people like a lady that I adore, and I wish I could have met her, Harriet Tubman. If she was not even free, but she did the things that she did, coordinated with the Quakers and the abolitionists, and walked from state to state, went through muddied waters with snakes and all this stuff, just to be free. And she didn't just get herself, she kept coming back. I figured if I got a car, my car, when you cut the heat on from inside the house, I got email, I got telephone, cell phone. If I got all that, I should be able to do this little task that I got to do.
And that's big, one, because you believed in yourself.
Yes.
And your abilities. And you mentioned the word empowerment. And so you're embodying empowerment. And that I tip my hat off to you. And all the strong, y'all are such an inspiration to me.
Thank you.
But that's big.
Yeah, because to me, I really am a person from history, because there was a time in history as Black people, we couldn't hold our heads up. We weren't free. But for me, my freedom, I'm going to use every minute for empowering people, whatever skills God has blessed me with, even with the real estate. I'm always wanting to teach people the business, because I just believe that is what we should be doing on this earth.
Amen
that
to
we
that.
should not just want to keep everything to ourselves, but let's empower people, because, and I never feel threatened about somebody taking what I have, because like the Bible said, I don't come here being a preacher. It might,
all right.
it might not
Go
been in the
ahead.
Bible. But anyway, you can't take my anointing.
Amen to that.
I stay in my lane. I'm not going to try to be a pastor.
Amen to that. So let's get into a little bit more about real estate. You mentioned how you got into real estate. Tell me about your real estate efforts, what's going on in that arena.
Well, I don't have a lot of efforts going. I keep my company. I'm down to 1 agent. I really wanted to grow my company, but once the politics came in, I did get a list. But I keep my license going, and training my agent that I do have now, because I don't want to be unfair and have people come to my company and I can't spend time with them. And I try to,
because you have so much going on.
right? Because I try to be fair with them. Even when I get clients, I don't want to take people when I can't service them. So I have a really good relationship with my agent I have now, so she's able to help me, the times that I can't get out. But I'm never going to let my license go or my company go because, really, politics, I may only have 4 to 8 years left in it because I do want to do, I want to do real estate, but I have 3 handsome grandsons who are fast, like Michael Vick and Marcus, and athletic in football, good. So I'm going to have the other part of my life roaming around as an NFL grandma.
So all these scouts out here, y'all heard it first, right?
Exactly. They heard it first, and 1 in Gwinnett County and 2 here. So that's going to be
How old are your grandbabies?
15, 14, and 10.
Y'all better go. Y'all better do it.
And they are, you should, I said the same thing with Mike Vick about him when he was in high school, and it happened. So, hey.
You can spot talent.
At least y'all will have heard it first on this show.
I'm pretty sure somebody else heard it first because I'm pretty sure you're telling everybody. So,
but I haven't been on the show to say it. At least I've been saying it, but it's on first on the show.
We got it here first.
You got to
we got to hear first.
Amen.
We got to hear first.
Yeah, but so the real estate, I love the real estate. Don't you? I just love being able to help people find their
absolutely
home. I was able to. I was at a place, and I talk about that in my book as well, because women my age. It was customary for you to have a husband before you got a house.
I had to do I did an Instagram post about that because I've had women come to me and ask, because I'm not married, should I wait until I find a husband to buy a house? No, ma'am. No, ma'am, Pam, buy the house.
Right.
Buy that house,
Well, that's what I had to decide. I think I was like 40, and once I didn't see anybody and a husband coming to get me and rescue me from anywhere, I was like, you know what? And I had started in real estate. I was like, I'm going to figure this out. So as I was renting, but as I was showing houses, it gave me a chance to, because I came in the market in 2001, so it was a good market. That's when it was just, it had gotten to the point that if you didn't see the house on the listing the first day, usually by the time you got there, it was gone.
Wow.
Or contracts on it. So, so I had a good amount of clients, and it gave me the chance to look around to see what I wanted. And so for me, I wanted to stay in my community. So I had found a vacant lot, and I built my house downtown.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had a few credit issues.
That's all right.
So I took the time to work on those, and I tell people that all the time. Just because your credit may have been bad, you can transform that as well. You got to almost everything. You've got to put in the work.
And what I tell people is that your credit is just a snapshot in time. So like you said, just because it's bad right now doesn't mean that you can't work to improve it.
Yes.
And just because you have bad credit, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to purchase a house.
Right.
So,
and I think the biggest thing too about that is that everybody has some hard times in life. I mean, it helps make us who we are. It's tough going through it. I know I've been through, but
builds character.
Right, exactly. And so I think that's why I call my book The Strength and Resilience of the Vick Family, because you have to, in this life, you have to have strength. You have to be able to recover and be resilient to be able to continue, because there's so many good parts of it. You can't let the bad parts take you out.
Get you down. Where can we get your book? Where if our audience wants to purchase it, where can they go to get it?
Amazon.com.
Amazon?
And authorhouse.com. But because I published it initially with Author House Publishing, but Amazon had a great deal, so I republished it and made a different cover. And so either one of those.
Okay, so authorhouse.com and Amazon. Growing Up Vick, the strength and resilience of the Vick family. So let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about your run for mayor, which we are absolutely excited about.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I just, our current mayor is leaving, so the seat is open. And I have served as the councilwoman for the city for 14 years. And Shan, 4 of those years, I've been the vice mayor. And that means that in the absence of the mayor, you are in charge. And so I am experienced. I've been through so many issues with our city, with our crime, the COVID, particularly in my district, the disinvestment, the early on, there was an investment in King Williams Reservoir that ended up being suspended by the some type of environmental group. They couldn't move forward with it. And so, but we had, before I got on, they had spent so much money in that. We had an unfunded pension that we had to work together to decide how we were going to take money out of our general fund budget to do. So, you know, being able to look at governance of our city holistically instead of everybody fighting for districts. So now we have a strategic plan. So I'm experienced.
And you had a lot to do with the way downtown Newport News looks. Oh my God, there's such a transformation that
real
took
quick,
place.
I want to jump in real quick because I know when I met you, Miss Vick, I was saying, hey, local politics doesn't mean anything to me because I'm military. I don't know if you remember that conversation.
Yes.
I was like, listen, my problems are federal, so I don't have anything to do with this local election, and I could care less. And then you kind of broke some things down, and then you started talking to me about being a business owner and all that, and then you started connecting me with people in the city and really educate me. So thank you, first and foremost, but to whoever's listening and watching in this, I want them to know that you are in the community. You've been down there. I mean,
Boots to ground.
The first few times I've ever heard you speak with so much light and
Passion.
Passion.
Thank you.
Let's go with
Thank
the
you.
passion. And you talk about even the street lights downtown Newport News and how important that was. So first and foremost, thank you for being a pillar in the community. But
Thank you.
all those things that you've done and that you're out there doing it, because for me, being a little lonely military guy, right? Seeing somebody that's actually out there doing it and not talking about doing it is very important to me. So first and foremost, thank you. But I do have one question. I let all that to ask this question. So I know there's somebody out there running on the basis of age, and we're not going to hold it against him or her, right? But what do you have to say about that? Because I think this is a great time for you to speak on it and talk about it, because, you know, I don't think that the age is a situation, because it's not like you out here in a wheelchair and you can't get around and you seem like you're mentally healthy to me. So I don't see where age is an issue. So if you want to just touch on that topic and even some of the other talking points like finances and college and all that other stuff.
Well, age is an issue for some of those young guys, not just one just running for mayor, but the other councilman that just keeps, I just think it's so ignorant to keep bringing that up, because particularly for the guy who's in the North District running, you keep talking about the average age of the council is 65. Okay, but what's missing out of his comments is we don't elect ourselves. The people do.
Exactly.
And so he's run before. So if you can't win, that's obvious that the people don't want you. So I think it sounds so ignorant that they keep saying that stuff, because the real people want to hear, what can you do to make my life better? What can you do for and not only what can you do, what have you done?
That's important.
Because to me, they're coming out with that ignorance because they don't have a record of getting anything done. See, on my record, I sat at the table to be able to work with our city manager and council to get over $40 million. We spent over $40 million in our Lord Jefferson Avenue infrastructure improvements, where all that unsightly wiring is now gone.
It looks
Those
amazing.
leaning poles are now gone, and all of that is underground. That has beautified our corridor so much. I've worked to help us get a grocery store in a food desert. I came on council knowing that with all that high concentration of poverty at the lower end of my district, we needed some walker-friendly job training or connection to job. I sat on a advocacy committee, Virginia First Cities, where they have a $500,000 grant. Brought that to our city manager so our staff could work on that. So now the shipyard built the building, but we're able to lease out the first floor to have job training information there, resume help. There's a sewing class, a recording studio, and our Brooks Crossing Innovation and Opportunity Center. So those are the things that people need in their communities to thrive and survive. And so for me, you won't see me out here talk. I don't even entertain that ignorance about that age stuff with those people while we're out here, because I think it's so irrelevant. Just talk about what have you done, what can you do, and really stand on your record, because they can talk about age all they want to, Carrie, but the people are going to decide
All day.
as we're in this early voting stage, because so many people are early voting, and on November the 8th.
November 8th. Get out, register, get out to vote.
Yeah, and now they've made it so you can register up until Election Day, which is great. They've changed so many of the rules. But I'm excited about being, we need a mayor now. There's so many regional efforts. We got our Hampton Roads Transit. I'm the chair of the consortium of the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. We're regional. All across the water we're working with people in Franklin, not Surrey County, but Suffolk. So we got the Hampton Roads Regional Jail. We have Hampton Roads Planning Commission. So we're working across the aisles as talking about localities. So we need people who are well respected in the political arena. Who we don't need to. This mayor's job is not for anybody who needs some on-the-job training, because we're trying to continue to recover from COVID. That's an issue, as we're trying to help support our small businesses with those American Rescue Plan funds, as we're trying to help people with housing. We have our Human Services Department working with so many families. We're looking at the crime. Everybody's going through the crime issues. We have to be able to keep this police chief we have, Police Chief Steve Drew, who is phenomenal.
Shout out.
Yes, and to have a police chief with a heart, he really cares about us here. We had a Martin Luther King Plaza at 25th and Jefferson. We had spent, I think it was maybe like $11 million on that to get it done. But as we got it done, with the way some of the people's lives are, a lot of men not working, drugs. Some people say mental health. I'm not sure it's that, because I'm born and raised here. A lot of those people I already know. They didn't want to do anything in school. They just didn't. They were on the back of the bus drinking beer and smoking weed.
On the back of the bus.
I still can't figure out why I didn't report it, but I was in high school. Yeah. Like, oh my God, let's get to the school. But we were complaining about the vagrancy in that park. We as a council. So the previous chief was, we can't do anything about that. Nobody could do anything about that. So when Chief Drew came, as we were talking about it, you got to hear his story. He said he thought it was a big park like Central Park that we could get the people out. He said by the time he went over there and looked at that little teeny park area, now do you know that man has cleaned that thing up?
That's awesome.
You need leaders like that who are not just going to talk about what they can do or bringing up nonsense like age. Look at what he's accomplished. He's got that spot shooter. He's doing everything to keep us safe, and the walks. And I think nobody can do any crime around here unless they catch everybody now. Since he's here. I tell everybody, don't come to Newport News doing crime, because Steve Drew gonna.
So you know what? That is something to talk about as well, because I know when I first got here back in 99, 2000-ish, everybody used to say, don't go downtown Newport News. What they call it, the bottoms.
Numbered streets.
Or the bad news.
Yeah. Stay away from Peddler's Village.
They were saying that.
Listen, when I first came here, they said stay away from the number streets. If you go down to the number streets, it's bad. And there's a ton of stories. But
I got some good deals out of Peddler's Village.
Who didn't? Who didn't? Shout out to Joe Pro if you're still out there. That's a Virginia thing, 2 up, 2 down. If you don't know, right. But I I believe that, and I always say this, the city of Newport News has done a great job revitalizing downtown, and they continue to do a great job. And again, it's partly because of people like yourself, but now we're talking about the police chief and what he's done. So I think that again is amazing for you to plug because you didn't have to. So
Right.
that's amazing.
Yeah, we have some good people, and we have an excellent fire chief that's on board, and they're working so well together. That's what I love about the way government is changing. There were men that just fighting and just never wanting equality and justice for all. To be coming into a phase of leadership where people are putting all the ugliness aside, they're putting all the racism aside, they're putting all the let's not help the have-nots, just help the haves. People putting all that stuff aside, real leadership. Mm-hmm. Because what can happen, what I told people when I first got in office, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Mm-hmm. So if you decide to do governance and let part of a city suffer or county suffer, we're all going to suffer. Because when they were doing that before I got on council, just the central district having everything, nobody's going to come to support city center if somebody's shooting in East End every day. You're shooting yourself in the foot. That type of leadership, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
So before we go on to our next break and listen to Mr. Jordan again, that's my guy. So before we do that again, the question that I want to come back to is something that I've heard out in the streets when I'm out about is, yes, Miss Tina Vick is great downtown, South Side, but how she's going to manage all of Newport News as mayor. So we're going to come back to that, and we're going to jump right in when we come back. So in the meantime, we're going to listen to Mr. Jordan talk about how he's 23 and capped.
Despite the rumors you may hear, now is the perfect time to buy a home. Opportunities at Black Lion are endless. Jordan Edwards, 23 years old and capped. For all your real estate needs, my number is 804-505-4489. That's the final cut, right?
All right. I appreciate you, Mr. Jordan Edwards, Mr. 23 and capped, and Black Lion. So the question is, you've done great downtown. Everybody knows downtown. Everybody knows the Vic name downtown. And I'm saying that because this is what I've heard, right? So I'm speaking for we the people right now. So how does your leadership translate from South Side to all of Newport News?
Well, first of all, as the mayor, I have a team, and that team is the rest of the council people and our city manager. And so, first of all, I've already been a part of setting the stage for governance as the mayor, because now we have a strategic plan that lays out resources and funds and projects throughout the city. Okay. I may have been represented and only voted by the South District, but I worked throughout the city with my colleagues on council. And that's what's going to help make me the best and most effective mayor, because I want to be able to know my team even more. Right now, as a council, we only meet when we have work sessions or the council meetings. I, as the mayor, want to get to know my team, because that's like if you're the CEO and you don't know the players involved, you may be able to get some things done, but you can do more when you're meeting with one-on-one meetings monthly or bi-monthly. Being able to know my team, working with our city manager and our staff. And so I've already started. Some people, of course, in politics, they always want to find something wrong. But I've supported the Denby Community Center, just supported the pool this month, the addition of the pool in City Center. We supported the new fire station, the upper part, the plans for the Grissom Library I've supported in Denby. So we've been working all over. It's just there was such a need in my area, and my voice coming to the table saying that we need to make this area look better, and so it looks phenomenal. But we're still not done there. You still go in the lower part of the district, the code, the dilapidated, housing still. We have issues. I want to continue to work with the codes, because with that, I think we need to get some outside help, because I can't figure out why you would want to not want to enforce the codes and have that dilapidation. I think we gotta do more prevention. In my mind, as the mayor, we need to do more prevention, instead of, we've been functioning on letting something go all the way down, and it's hard to build it back up. But here in Denby, some of the pockets are getting old. The housing.
Absolutely, yep.
And so we can't just sit around and keep saying, oh, let's wait till everything go down. No, I want to have a team, and a team. Of course, we have the staff, but I really want to have some mayoral teams of people, supporters, citizens, to say, because people are living longer, why can't we have some groups where we do have Habitat, but they mainly work 23607, and we have that Serve the City group. But let's combine everybody together with some contractors. Some people are living longer. They can't afford to fix their siding or roofs. Can we look in the general fund budget to see how we can maybe allot $5 million to this effort and get volunteers, and that way we can help people keep their properties, because that's when you can sustain your neighborhoods as opposed to just letting them fall apart.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's going to be, I already have the ideas, but it's going to be looking at them on a larger scope, because I want to have more people involved. I want to have the buy-in from the staff. I want to improve our communication on the council, and the staff, because it's not where it needs to be. We need to communicate more to have ideas. We can't just keep wanting to do business as usual. You got to come out here with some thinking, because we have so many challenging times. We never, whoever really knew somebody that was 90 years old? Most people, they were retiring at 60 and they were gone by 65.
Amen.
So we got to even look at all that, because that's going to affect how our neighborhoods look. Because if you can't afford it, so we have to, I feel like government and the private sector and citizens, we need to have some conversations to say, how are we going to do this? We can put those able-bodied men to work at the Four Oaks Center while they're trying to find a place to live. They're not going to sit in there and look at TV and play cards. Let's put them to work.
So it sounds like you have some ideas and some plans for a lot of the important issues that a lot of us citizens have concerns about. And to me, that is, it's a relief. It feels good to know that our future mayor has our concerns at heart. So,
yes, I do,
you.
because we have to, you're welcome, because we have to sustain and bring up the city. I want to look at how we're going to, let's bring some vibrancy to our waterways. Again, we have the millennials, but the people, like a man yesterday, he said, what are you going to do for somebody 80 years old like me? But let's look at bringing look at the vibrancy. Can we bring some taxi boats here? What about, we have that restaurant in near Huntington Park. Let's see if we can get some jet skis instead of just the fishing pier. Can we do some jet skis and let people rent those? And people are doing stuff in their cities. Hang gliding, a lot of good cities.
Parasailing.
The carousel. Y'all, you hear this on the show.
All right, so this is the third thing we're hearing first.
We're getting the carousel. I'm not leaving office till we get a carousel.
This is the third thing.
I'm looking forward to that
one. Oh my God, because can you imagine that near the water, all these waterways we have, but all we can do is go and sit. Huntington Park, the bacteria is usually there. it's a nice park, but the bacteria usually there's all the time. What is it about that? We need to dig deeper to say we've got to push harder to be able to make things better. We got King Lincoln Park down in the town. Why is the brush so much? We used to be able to swim in there and go clamming and crabbing.
Is that Pinkett's Beach?
Pinkett's Beach, yeah, yeah. And so, you know, they renamed it some time ago. But a lot of people still know it as Pinkett. But we're going to figure out how to get that more vibrant. And should we see if we can find a ferry in Newport? All this water, and all we can do is stand and look at it.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful sight. It's to stand out there and just it's beautiful.
Yeah, and then, but I think too, those are the type of things that I want to govern more for people and have mayoral committees for that water, looking at our waterways, parenting. It bothers me so much that I think our parents need help, but when young kids get in trouble or the shootings, all we see on the news is people blaming the police and they blaming government. What about the parents?
The parents, amen. Amen.
Do they need help? I want a committee with some parenting specialists. I already got them. Darlene Walker, if you're listening.
Shout out to Darlene.
She runs our the Hampton Roads chapter of the National Black Child Initiative Development. And so I just believe our parents need help. I think that could be a good connectivity to reducing crime.
And that's good, because very seldomly do I hear politicians or people in office or leaders talk about helping parents. Like, because that's key. Helping the parents. That's where it starts.
Right.
It starts at home. You know, it's not the teachers, it's not the police, it's at home, the family.
Yeah, and I think as a city, it will be, for me, I think it would probably be innovative, but my heart goes there because one child, 14 years old, in Hampton, out at 2 a.m. with the gun, I just thought about that for weeks because I have a 14-year-old grandson. I would be losing my mind if my 14-year-old grandson was somewhere with the gun. So where are these parents? I just think we've just been talking all around stuff, but let's see what we can do in that arena.
Amen to that.
Because if we can help strengthen these families, which, like you said, Shannon, it starts at home, we can possibly help with the crime
That
reduction.
make a huge difference. I mean, it affects almost every aspect. You know, you start at home and strengthen that at home, crime, you know, schooling, finance, like all of that.
And another idea I want to look at, getting a clean city commission or committee or campaign going, because in areas of our city, particularly down where I live, I just can't even believe that people don't even know enough to not litter or care enough to not litter. And to know that you're living right here and you want trash all around, I really want to really know what that's all about. Do you know what that's all about, Carrie? I don't know what that's all about,
have
because
no idea.
when I see litter in my yard, and when I went to a real estate conference in Cleveland, and I'm going to look into this too if we can do this for our areas, but they had paid workers in certain areas that's all they did was pick up trash. So if to have a clean city, that's worth the money.
I agree with you on that.
And so I have a lot of ideas, and so to take our city to a higher level. We're doing well, but I think we can do even better. And I am so Carrie, to speak to you, I'm not going in this by myself. I'm counting on citizens, people like you and Shan,
Absolutely.
you know, business people, that we're gonna have think tanks that we're gonna make the city better.
So real quick, I really want to touch on some stuff because I'm looking at your flyer, and you have some good stuff on here that we didn't even scratch the surface on. Tech Center, New Ferguson Enterprises, the Denby Work Plan, CNU Art Center. You want to touch on the CNU Art Center?
Yeah, that Toggler Center, we voted on that. It's beautiful. The Toggler Center, and it's all glass, but you know, because if you voted to support something, you can count that under your leadership. It happened under my leadership. And so we voted to support that. And actually we gave, I want to say it was like 80 something $1,000 to help support that center to actually get built all the way out. But that place is beautiful. The new interim president, she was there because President Paul Tribble, who was there for 29 years, I think 29 or 30 years, he's retired. But he's done an excellent job building up that CNU campus.
He did.
I've always supported Christopher Newport because when I finished school, it was Christopher Newport College.
Okay.
So now to see it as a university with all those buildings, I sat with him before he left. We had a meeting, and I said, Paul, you have to tell me, how does it feel when you look around this campus? Because he came when it was the college.
Mm-hmm.
So can you imagine what is your feeling, Paul, that you look around and this place is beautiful with all these huge buildings? But he has such a humble spirit, and he said if it wasn't for partnerships, he would not have been able to do it. But just his humble spirit, he's a magnificent guy and such a great leader, and he has really, him and his wife Rosemary, they have really contributed to this city tremendously. So of course I wanted to support the Arts Center.
So I don't want to, you do so much, and I don't want to run out of time, but there was something that we talked about when we first met. You got a grant for, what was it? You got a grant for?
The $30 million Choice Neighborhood.
Yeah. No, not that one. See, look, you doing so much, and we're
Was
trying
it
to find what.
women's?
Right.
Oh, the women's empowerment
Right.
thing.
That's big.
Oh yeah, that was with my nonprofit. Well, the thing with the nonprofit, the way I got to the nonprofit, I never thought about having a nonprofit thing, but that happened really because of politics too. Because me being a black woman, there was being in office, and I think too partly had to be from being downtown, and people actually knew me. They were calling, so many women calling, with just sharing unmanageable lives, like not being able to keep a place to stay. You know, having children and homeless or about to be homeless. You know, that stuff really bothered me. One lady, some of the stories just, you know, you marry a felon, but you're in public housing. He doesn't have a job. You don't have a job. So you got 3 kids, so all of y'all get put out.
Oh, man.
That was the breaker.
Man.
That was the breaker right there. I said, you know what? I called some of my friends, Renita Parker. She had the Good Seed, Good Ground Work program. Sanu with Transitions Family Violence. I'm like, y'all, we have got to do something early with these girls and tell them these situations that we see.
So so the purpose of the group is to start with the younger women.
Right. So I started, and we just started girls camp at the beginning. I wasn't even thinking about a nonprofit. I said we just gonna call it girls camp. 13 to 18, we're gonna get out here. We were knocking on doors, and Ridley Circle was still there because I wanted to get the girls there that probably at their dinner table, if it is one, there's no conversation about their future. Because that's what I was seeing with those women. Somebody didn't talk about their future.
What they can do, what they're capable of.
Or early on, realizing that you need to go to school.
Yeah.
After school, you can choose college, you can choose the military, you can choose the trades. But if you just don't have a plan, your life gonna end up like the people who are calling me. Don't be, y'all can't. I tell them straight up in the room, and they kind of look at me like, you can't have a baby by every man you sleep with.
Say that again.
You just can't. Well, you can, but you're gonna make your life hard.
Yep.
You're gonna make your life hard, and you don't want to have to be having your life so unmanageable that you have to call me.
And that's big too. It sounds harsh, but it's the reality.
It is.
You know, you can't. It makes life more difficult.
It does.
You know.
And
So
then,
that's-
you know, Shan, as a woman, I mean, it's rough. I mean, we are free. It's equality. But we still go through challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not a piece of cake out here. And so to add things to that, So I started the girls' camp, but we had to raise the money because we kept the girls all day from 8:30 to 4 p.m. We started at the YWCA, but so we had to raise money to get food. I wanted to get T-shirts. We got the people T-shirts and give them prizes and gifts and everything. So I realized I had to raise money. So the first time I raised money, some of the other organizations, I put it in their account. But then you have to figure, like, legally, that's not the best thing. So I just worked on my nonprofit by myself. I didn't even have, they had a 2-page thing that I filled out, and I got it.
That's awesome.
Women's Empowerment Development. I filled out the articles of incorporation and everything. And so now that led to us, a friend of mine, Dr. Natalie Robinson, she saw a grant for that nonprofits can apply for to look at low income areas, small businesses. What are the needs?
Right.
And so Natalie is such a great grant writer. She wrote it, and we were able to. It was for the governor's initiative, and we were able to get the $50,000.
Well, congratulations
Yes.
on that. Congratulations.
That was the biggest amount of money that I've gotten with my own nonprofit.
That's awesome.
So we were able to finish that up. It was a great process, just talking with the small businesses in the Chestnut Avenue corridor and doing those focal groups. It really helps you see. It was twofold for me with the grant, but also as the council person, you know, what else do we need to support small businesses? And they need more support.
Oh, yes. Small businesses are so important to the local and the economy overall.
Yes.
You know, it pretty much keeps it running.
Yes.
You know?
Definitely. And then it's so hard for a lot of small businesses, particularly for me. What bothers me, my daughter has a restaurant. Now it's Green Yard Grill, but
Hold on. Make sure you shout out the address, the location. If you're going to say it, say the whole thing.
Okay, it's Green Yard Grill with Tina Vick and 3301 Washington Avenue, Newport News.
Great food, by the way.
Oh, my God.
And amazing drinks.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Not
Oh, my
that I
God.
drink.
That's where the victory party will be on November the 8th. Come to Green Yard Grill.
Be there.
8 p.m. We're going to be there. But to just think that place sat there, this is what I want to do something about, too. I got to figure out what I can do. But that whole place sat there almost empty for 5 years. And you see some of the spaces are still empty. It's probably now at 7 to 8 years. But what can we look at trying to find money? That's one thing I love about government. We found some money. And so,
I like to find some money.
I tell people all the time, wouldn't it be great to say, oh, look, honey, I was just looking in the drawer and I found $2 million over here.
So real quick, I think because when I first met you, I think I was on the hunt to get some questions answered, right? And I think that's when I spoke with Miss Kingston, and I ended up all the way up there, right? And I'm pausing real quick because I don't even know what her title is.
Director of Development.
Yes, but shout out, she's an amazing woman, and
Yes, she
her
is.
and her team. As soon as I got up there, there was no.
They were awesome.
Yes,
There was
indeed.
no BS. It was her and her team, Mark Rogers, and they rocked out.
They
So-
pointed us in the right direction,
Yes.
gave us
Yes.
resources. They
Yes.
were awesome.
And they had a call with us, so I just want to shout them out. I went off on a little
Yeah,
tangent.
Florence Kingston, she is wonderful. She's been with us 40, I think she just said it the other day, I think 42 years.
Yeah, she said something like that,
Oh, yeah,
yep.
because it was yesterday because we had a group from Fayetteville. This is when you know you're doing something as a city. A group from Fayetteville, they came here to talk to us about getting the Choice Neighborhood Grant. And so we had that, but that's when she said, it's been 42 years, but she is wonderful. Her team is wonderful. And she really worked really hard. As leaders, we can count the Ferguson, I don't know if it's enterprises, but in city center.
Right.
But Florence, and they worked
Listen,
because
did
they
their
could have
thing.
went anywhere. And it was a battle between us and Hampton at the end. But Florence, they fixed it and they came here. And that just beautifies that city center area with those fountains and that glass building. It is beautiful up there.
It is.
So the question I was getting to is, as a small business owner, That's one of the reasons why I went up there. Is like, hey, before Starbucks gets here, because Starbucks is coming, before Panera gets here, and all those other little places Shan likes to eat at, before they show up, what's going to happen to the small business owner who's already been downtown that's been trying to make it? And I'm going to shout out Corey Jones right now because he's the only insurance guy downtown, right?
Right.
So we don't want to see people like Corey Jones getting pushed out, being the only insurance guy when nobody else believed in downtown. So when I went down there, it was having the conversation about how do you get the message out to small businesses to come downtown? What's the incentive? Because I know personally, I want to get downtown. It's coming. So you heard it here first.
We got so many firsts this morning. Oh my God.
You heard it here first that Black Line Realty will be downtown at some point. But in saying that, is trying to get down there and understanding what's going on. So one of the questions I asked, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but one of the questions I asked is, they're doing all that great work on Jefferson Avenue, right? So how do I get my name in the hat to get one of those spaces downtown if I was small business, not just Black Line, because, but if you know what I'm talking about. So
What area are you talking about? Is it where the offices are 25 and J, they're full, you can't even get in there.
No, I'm talking about what they're building now. So you have the bottom.
The
right.
apartments.
Right. So you have the bottom floor that's supposed to be commercial, not commercial office space, but commercial space for vendors, right? So the question has always been, well, where do I go to find the information to get in that place?
Well, we toured that yesterday. Do you know those apartments as they're building up between 29th and 27th Street that I found this out yesterday from Lysandra. She's with the Housing Authority. She's working on those projects. But there are 2,000 people who have signed to live there.
Yeah.
2,000.
Wow.
And
How
I
many
think it's only-
units are there?
I think it's a total of, did she say 300 or 400?
Wow.
Can you believe?
Wow.
Can you believe that though?
I can. I mean, because here's what's happening. Because not only you looking at that area, but you're also looking at the surrounding areas of, say, you get down to right before the 1100 block. There's a lot of people going in there rehabbing because they are betting on Jefferson coming up and raising the value. So what's slowly happening is people are being pushed out because they don't know about what's happening, or they don't have the economic sense to see, hey, I just need to weather the storm. So you have people being pushed out because they don't know. But
You think they pushed out though? Because the people Choice Neighborhood, Ridley.
now let me clarify that. When I say pushed out, I'm not saying the city's pushing them out. There are investors that are coming in there and paying little to no money to get those
the properties.
right? And they are the ones that I would say are pushing. I wouldn't say that.
But if they don't sell, they don't have to sell.
No, exactly, right. So,
But I guess the other situation would be if they're a renter, the owner could actually sell. When
Right.
we're talking about
Right.
single family,
Right.
I guess the owner could sell.
Yeah.
right.
Because I can see that happening because I'm on Ivy and I get things in the mail all the time
We
for
buy
people trying to
houses,
buy my
yep.
house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's something that we noticed because we've actually done a rehab and turned it back over to the family downtown.
Yeah, that was in there. Yeah.
So, and I see the opposite where people are getting in there and they're, you have old landlords that are selling the property from below the tenants and getting them out of there.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of landlords down there.
It is,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, because my daughter just talked to one, and they had a few properties in Huntington Heights, and the man was just basically trying to, because he was like almost 100 years old,
Exactly.
and so his children didn't want to do it.
So he was
So,
liquidating.
So it's so many different scenarios about it, about the housing, but to see that many people. But then as we broke ground on phase 2 of Choice Neighborhood with Ridley, and that's going to be some more apartments and townhouses. And in 2000, I think it's slated to 2023 or 24 single family homes
Mm-hmm.
for residents. So that place is going to look totally different in the next 10 years
It looks
yeah.
good now.
It's
It
gonna
looks good now.
look good in 3 years.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And I've already told people, if you're not paying attention, downtown Newport News is going to explode, and you're not even going to see it coming, because
Right.
a lot of times the general public is 10 years behind any trend.
Yeah, and then we have, as a city, we have control of what used to be a Chase Bag company. Did I tell you about that, Shan? What used to be a Chase Bag company. I'm not sure of how many acres. I want to say it's 11 acres, but it leads down to the water. It's behind that Achievable Dream.
Yep.
We haven't decided, but I would like to support that for some high-end housing.
Absolutely.
Because the
On the
thing
water?
is, because the thing is, what we have learned with this situation, for people who did not know, with the situation at the lower part of downtown, is that, or I should say, any community that has an overabundance of low-income residents. You can ask for grocery stores all you want. It was so hard to get. First, we had Jim's Local Market. It was so hard to get a grocery store down there. Florence was a part of that. We all were looking. Everybody was saying no. Walmart, Food Lion. What was the other one that was the people thought? Farm Fresh, because they were around at the time. Nobody, because once they're looking at the incomes,
And that's it. People don't realize the importance of having access to a grocery store. And you used the term food desert earlier. Some people don't know what a food desert is, but when you don't have access to fresh foods,
Yeah.
you know, you only have access to fast food. You can't go buy fruits and vegetables and poultry. You know, some people don't realize they have access to it, so they don't realize how much of a necessity that is.
Right.
You know.
and they don't, if they have access to it and have lived, pretty good, they don't know the plights of. But the reason I work so hard about it is because we want we talk about empowerment again. I want citizens to be empowered. I want families, and I really look at, particularly, I was very emotional at the groundbreaking on Tuesday, because what I think about, Shan, is that really circle housing was so old. We lived in it. You didn't have any air conditioning. I told the crowd out there that yesterday. You couldn't cut the heat on. There was no thermostat. The rental office cut the heat on. So if it got cold before they decided to cut it on, you were just
cold.
SOL.
So I don't think people realize, not just really Circle. What was the name of those other housing
Harbor
projects?
Homes,
Right.
Dickinson Court,
Right.
all of them were the same way.
Yes.
Old and just outdated, and just the floor plans so tight, and cinder block walls. Just, we grew up there. It was good, but that was in the we moved there in 1970 something. But we gotta not think that people are supposed to live like that anymore. That's where I love about government, that you get to think of a different way that people can live. Now, it all takes money, but I still think we should at least keep thinking, because what I told the crowd Tuesday is that once these apartments come and our children are able to be in there, that means if there's a question on the SOL about a thermostat, they will know what it is because they have one in their apartment. If there's a question on the SOL about a dryer, because the place had clotheslines, really. If there's a question about a clothes dryer, they'll know what it is.
They had clotheslines. They didn't have a laundry area.
No.
Wow.
It's one in the apartment, but it doesn't come with one.
Right. Wow.
So some people, if they couldn't afford it, I know we could afford a washer. We couldn't afford the dryer,
Yeah.
so we had to hang the clothes on the clothesline.
Yeah.
But so bringing people from what I call ancient times
To modern times.
Exactly. But those are the things that I've enjoyed being able to be a part of, to help think of in government, because we need solutions-driven people. We don't need people that just want to keep talking about the problems. No, what can we do? Even if you don't know exactly, let's get some people together. Let's think of something. That's what government
Let's
is supposed to do.
brainstorm.
Not just let people just live and go this way. We need to try to provide enough call human amenities, so that people can empower themselves.
Now, ladies, we could do this all day.
I was just about to say.
We could absolutely do this all day. And
Well, I thank y'all for having me.
Tina, listen, Miss Vick, what I want to say is thank you for coming.
Thank you.
This
You're welcome.
this has been an honest pleasure for both of us for you to be here. And I would
Thank
say
you.
good luck, but I know you're gonna win because
Oh, thank you.
I once heard you say that you've never lost. So
Oh yeah,
I've heard you say that.
that's when I'm
so-
in my Tina Vick mode.
Right. So thank you for coming. But is there anything like your last thoughts? Anything you want to share? If there's something that you want somebody to show up to, last message to everybody, because we definitely have to have you back because we could do this all day. But
Well, you know I got to come back. Well, you know what I got to say right now. It's early voting. Get out to the polls and vote for the most qualified, the most experienced, the most trusted candidate on the ballot for mayor, and that will be me, Tina Vick.
all day.
The polls are already open. We can do early voting, and I feel so blessed that so many people are texting me and going on my social media. I voted for Tina Vick. But also on November the 8th, get out because we need leadership that cares. We need leadership that really is concerned about not just how our city looks, but citizens' well-being. And that is how I govern. And I know that I am the best candidate to be able to serve for the next 4 years. So go vote Tina Vick.
Go vote, Tina
all
Vick.
day. Tina Vick, you got my vote.
Thank you.
And listen, shout out to your admin,
Cindy Rosa.
Yes. I want to shout her out
Yes,
because
she
she's
is.
amazing.
Yeah,
she's
she
working.
is. She's on it.
She is on
I
it.
get the text messages
Right.
all the time.
Text messages. She makes sure
Emails, all
everything's
that.
updated. So listen,
Yes.
shout out to her because she's definitely working.
Doing an excellent job. I'm so glad I found her. And the fact that she can speak Spanish.
Oh yeah.
So listen, I'm gonna wrap it up because
Okay,
we
thank
could
you.
go down
Thank
a
you,
rabbit
Tina.
hole.
Thank you all so
Thank
much for
you.
having me.
No, thank
Sharon,
you.
it's always a pleasure to see you.
Always. Thank
Yes.
you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, Black Line Realty is the best. Hampton Road's finest. What else did you think I was gonna say?
Listen, we're just here to dominate. No more, no less.
Hey man, I'm telling you, when it comes to this real estate, anybody can win. You gotta know when to take your chance.
Absolutely.
It's Black Line After Hours. Let's go.